Hello, everyone. File in, there's plenty of seats. Welcome to Circularity 24. I am so happy that you've all made it here to Chicago to spend a couple days with us. And for you on the live stream watching, thank you for joining us. I know that everyone is incredibly busy, and taking 3 days out of the office is not easy, so thank you, thank you, thank you. We had a conversation planned on stage tomorrow to talk about braiding Indigenous and Western science together to move further faster. Unfortunately, our speaker for that had to cancel last minute due to an emergency. So with that, I'd like to acknowledge that the city of Chicago is located on land that is and has long been a center for Native peoples. The area is the traditional homeland of the Anishinaabe, or the Council of the Three Fires, the Ojibwe, the Odawa, and the Potawatomi tribes. Now, today on the keynote stage, we're really going to focus in on the key question of how we as individuals in this community can continue to fight for what we believe in, can maintain hope and motivation. You know, we're all working to influence organizations, both small and large, governments from local to international, in many cases our own coworkers, families, and friends, to do more to fight the existential crises the planet faces. These include climate change, biodiversity loss, pollution, mass extinction, and the eventual end to Taylor Swift's Eras Tour. Tomorrow, we'll focus a bit more on the collective. In other words, how do we pool our collective knowledge, creativity, and experience to create a world that is more resourceful and regenerative? In the spirit of starting with that, let's think about these three questions today. How do we keep ourselves motivated? How do we find hope and celebrate the smallest victories or even the largest defeats? And how do we continue to push forward to fight for the future we want to see? To be honest, I don't have those answers, but today we're going to dig into this question a little bit with a bunch of people who are finding a way forward right now, right here. And in the vein of starting with the individual, let's talk about how much this guy, that's me in the year 2000, got wrong. We could start with the pose, the hair, the goatee. We could pick a lot of things out of this. It's a graduation photo, so forgive me, they made me stand like that. You know, we all feel like progress is really slow, but world-changing people, companies, products come along every day. For example, this guy had a Nokia block phone in his oversized jeans pocket, and he refused to send a text message. He had dial-up internet at his house. He may or may not have even been highlighting his hair. He was. Give me a break. It was the boy band era. A lot of people were doing it. I didn't have a choice. Anyway, he never would have guessed that we'd have computers in our pockets with internet faster than anything he'd ever seen. And he never would have guessed how much progress we would have made in the 24 years since this picture was taken. Things can and do change all the time. We're often just too tied up in today to realize that it's happening. Now, this was almost 25 years ago, and a lot has changed since then. Our lives have changed forever. And it's hard to imagine that our lives might change a lot in the next 5, 10, or 20 years, but they will. We have to believe it, and we have to push for the right change in that time. Now, I also wouldn't have guessed that I would know all the words and lyrics to any Disney princess movies. But I have 2 daughters, and so the Frozen movies play almost on loop in my house. And sure, everybody knows the first movie, but I actually really like the second one a lot. And in one Frozen 2 song, Princess Anna, you know, she thinks Elsa's dead. Olaf has melted. She's in a cave by herself, and she's lost all hope. And she sings a song with some lines I really like, and she says, "I won't look too far ahead. It's too much for me to take. But break it down to this next breath, this next step, this next choice is one that I can make." Man, if those aren't great words for anybody to live by, much less those of us trying to advance the circular economy, I don't know what is. The interesting thing is she goes on, though, and she says, "So I'll walk through this night, stumbling blindly toward the light, and do the next right thing. And with the dawn, then what comes next? When it's clear that everything will never be the same again, then I'll make that choice to hear that voice and do the next right thing." Now, oh, thanks. I wish I would have written that, but I didn't. Anyway, right now, our economy, from the perspective of circularity, is in some really, really dark times. We're far below 10% global circularity, and most measures are actually moving in the wrong direction. But we as individuals and a collective who believe that the circular economy should be the default need to take the next step and do the next right thing. How do we do it? Well, if you're new to this field, you can start by educating yourself on the principles and practices of the circular economy through reading, online courses, networking events, joining industry groups that are relevant, and just generally staying connected, up to date, and informed. If you're in a position of leadership, take initiative to assess your organization's current practices and identify opportunities to embed circularity. Identify and advocate for pilot projects and initiatives that can show that circularity works, and then work to scale. That scale is going to have to come with buy-in from senior leadership for people and dollar resources to get stuff done. This isn't going to be free. If you have a role in sourcing, product development, marketing, finance, legal, any other role at your company, you also have agency here. You can prioritize circular materials, product durability, repairability, and end-of-life considerations to minimize waste and maximize resource efficiency. Now, I want us all to walk away from this week seeing the successes we can have, understanding what barriers still exist, and also holding hope that we can accomplish our goals and things can and do change, and they need to change. So let's take full advantage of our time together to learn, connect, and walk away with that next right step that we can all take to move us towards a more circular economy. With that, I'd like to welcome our first speaker to the stage. Really excited about this. Naomi Davis is dedicated to self-sustaining Black communities everywhere. She is aiming to reinvent her childhood's sustainable square mile here in the age of the climate crisis. She is the founder and CEO of Blacks in Green, an urban theorist, attorney, activist, and the proud granddaughter of Mississippi sharecroppers. So please join me in welcoming Naomi Davis to the Circularity stage.